Hello and good morning. I hope you are doing very well, YouTube. Here today, I thought I would make a little video for you guys. I usually upload only VODs to my channel, and I've been thinking I could probably do a little bit more. So here we are. I thought I would finally make a video that somewhat breaks down the late game with Evelyn. I know a lot of people come to me frustrated that they will get fed in the early game, but they just don't know what to do in the late game. So I thought I could put together a little bit of something. Hopefully it doesn't run too long, but we'll see how that works out. So without further ado, let's get into it. I will start with a practice tool, and we'll talk about some ideas about the late game, like what you should be thinking about and stuff. First of all, I define the late game as being, once Evelyn hits like 3 items, and, it's probably like at least 25 minutes into the game, you have damage, you already have like some stuff put together, and you're really trying to close out the game. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about late game. And let's go ahead and talk about what you guys should be doing once you hit the late game. One big mistake that I see people make all the time when it comes to the late game is that they are not using Evelyn's camouflage properly. And I'll show you guys what I mean by that right here. So let's just say that we as the Evelyn player get we have our core and stuff, and I can't buy boots, but let's say you have like a death cap and a void staff. So you are powerful, right? You have the damage that it takes to kill people, and you're wondering what to do. I will see a lot of Evelyn players in this kind of situation go and start clearing their jungle and, playing the game the same way that they would basically play it if they were still 15 minutes into the game or something like that. They don't have, maybe they even have their ultimate, but they're clearing some camps or whatever. That's not what Evelyn really is meant to do. So the first thing we're going to talk about is farm versus vision. Evelyn's camouflage is a very powerful tool. It makes it so that nobody can see you, and it makes it so that Evelyn can actually gather a lot of information for her team, unlike any other champion in the game. So what I mean by that is, if you watch my games, you will often see me have my team be maybe around here, let's say, but I will be standing like here, and you can pretend that this tower is dead, right? I'll be standing like here or like here, and what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to map out the movement of the enemy. I'm trying to figure out where they're trying to go, how they're trying to group up, and like just see if they make any mistakes. So the biggest thing I would tell everybody is, no matter what your situation you're in with Evelyn, I want you guys to prioritize vision a little bit more than farming. Farming is still something that you can do in the late game, but specifically you want to farm when your team doesn't have an opportunity to get something around the map. So let's say you guys just killed a bunch of stuff, or you took Baron and you're just recalling. That's when you could kind of like, you and your team together can kill a bunch of camps really quickly and then go by and go out to do some more stuff. Specifically, something that I don't want to see you guys doing is farming over here. I didn't mean to summon this. Farming over here while your team is in mid lane at like 25 minutes, 26, 30, whatever. Because if a fight breaks out, you need to be nearby. So that's the first thing that I wanted to lay down on you guys. Now, before you actually push out and start looking for, oh, you know what? I should mention one more thing before we start doing this. To use Evelyn's camouflage properly, there's a trick to it. So what we're trying to achieve is we're trying to put ourselves only in situations where we can see the enemy before the enemy can see us, okay? So when I'm telling you guys, go get late game vision, this is not something that I want to see you doing. This is not getting late game vision, like walking towards bushes and just being like, oh, is anybody in here? Oh, looks like no one's in here. Okay, well, you know, I'm playing Evelyn. I'll get, if they're in here, I'll get an exclamation point. And it tells me that they're there. And oh my God, that's totally fine. Now I got information from my team. No, this is not okay, because getting vision at the same time as the enemy is not good enough. It puts you in danger, especially in the late game. Evelyn is so squishy. You know, we build damage. We don't build tankiness. So this kind of stuff, that's really risky. What you're looking for is wide areas that give you a lot of extra vision past your, maximum range of the camouflage. So mid lane is the prime example. If there's no towers here, you can stand here, and this is like the most information in the game. You see if somebody's coming from here, 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 and you kind of get a sense for everywhere where they're walking around. Very important. Other areas is like up here. If your team is pushed up, you can fairly easily move up and down between here and here quickly. And sometimes, like, if I want to gank top, I will oftentimes run through here in the late game and walk through this like kind of highway where there's only one bush that's unlikely for people to camp in, and then try to gank somebody top from here. So I will try to avoid the jungle and bushes and potential pink ward locations, you know, as much as I can. So this location is good. This location is good. You're looking for stuff that doesn't have a lot of concentration of bushes, and you're trying to avoid like typical pink ward spots. So pink wards are going to be around Baron, maybe some in Botside River, but usually not as many. You know, you kind of get a feel for it. This is a typical pink ward location. You know, you guys kind of know after playing Evelyn for a little while. So there's that. And one last thing is, if you actually have to walk down here and stuff, so areas where there are tight corners specifically, something that I would highly advise you guys not to do is hug corners like this as you walk past them. Because if you get vision at the same time as an enemy in melee range, you're at risk of being CC'd and killed. If you have to check a corner like that, I would highly suggest that you hug the opposite wall of the corner, and then if you see an enemy, you can fall back. If you don't see an enemy, again, I would not suggest to check this corner sharply from here. I would tell you to go up from here to kind of see more information there. You already scouted, like, this is still here, but you already scouted this area, so it's okay to go into there. And then you have more information here. And then you can potentially face check this bush with your passive to see if anybody's in there. So if you're like walking, you're trying to find if anybody's in there, you really want to go like this, and then maybe like do one of these and run away. Okay, so there you go. That's everything about camouflage, farm versus vision, and how to actually go about stealthing around without taking too much risk. It's all about the risk. You want to avoid the risk. So there are some things that I want you to check every time you reset, every time you're walking out onto the rift, right before you really go and look for this. And it'll make sense in a second as to why I tell you to check for these things. But basically, I want you to press tab and look at the enemy's items. We don't have any enemies in the practice tool, but you will have in your matches and stuff. So the things that I'm telling you to look for specifically are items that give HP, items that give magic resistance, and items like Zhonya's Guardian Angel, things that can save a character's life. And when you are looking at these, you really have to kind of like keep in mind how many items you have and decide if the particular target that you're going for will live or die if you all in them, okay? And it's very important to decide beforehand which targets you can all in and which targets you can't all in. The only other thing you have to consider besides HP, MR, and passives are how much CC a person has. So, you know, attacking a Rakan is going to be a lot more scary than attacking maybe, say, a Janna. A Janna might be able to save herself, but she probably won't get you killed. Rakan can definitely get you killed, although both characters tend to be pretty squishy. And then there's also, let's say, you know, 80 carries like Jhin. Jhin is a perfect example of a character that if they don't have much HP or MR, you just want to go in on them every time because they have nothing to protect themselves except for like flash and heal, and you have tools to match that and to kill them through those things. Okay, so very important. Before you guys go sneaking around, I want you to check their CC and their items. And the goal of that is to decide whether you can kill them or not. Now, this is something that will come from experience, but if you guys do this enough times, you'll get used to knowing what is possible, what is not possible. This is a very good exercise for learning your limits. Because, for example, let's say I am playing Evelyn and I have Death Cap, Void Staff, upgraded boots, and Stalkers, and Runic Echoes, right? And I see a person with a, I don't know, Hex Drinker, right? I, from experience, know that Death Cap and Void Staff will go through Hex Drinker. The Hex Drinker is not enough. But if I have like only a Spellbinder plus a little bit more items, I know that the Hex Drinker will probably save their life, unless maybe I charm them or something like that, right? So I got used to this kind of stuff, and you guys will too with time. Okay, now for actual breakdowns of what kind of situations you guys are looking for, what you actually want to do. So let's say you are actually pushing up here and you see some enemies. Let's say there's an enemy here, and you have allies around the mid lane. If you guys happen to run, and this is the best case scenario, if you guys happen to run into, let's say, a Jhin, a person that is easily killed, and you already know that they have low amounts of resistances or utility or anything like that, I want you guys to try to immediately kill him. Okay, so this is the first thing that Evelyn is always looking for, is a person that is alone and has very little defenses. And here's how you go about killing them. If the Jhin is walking at you, all you have to do is cue him right before he crosses the threshold of our invisibility. Before, not after, if he's walking at you. You cue him before and then W him, run at him, and E with continual hate spikes. If you have to ultimate, you can ultimate, but you kind of can decide that beforehand too. Usually, a late game Evelyn with 3 items will just one-shot the person as easy as that. You just QW, E them, and that's it. And it really works because people generally don't react that fast to our combo. So this is just like the bread and butter. This is what you're looking for. Make a pick. As soon as you do, you want to run straight for your team. They're your safety. They're the place where you can reset, wait for your abilities to come back up, heal up with your passive, and all that stuff. If somebody comes to kill you, use your ultimate to get away, whatever. That's the most simple situation. Perhaps, depending on your elo, more often than not, you know, you won't find that easy of a target. Maybe their support will be nearby. Maybe, you know, you just don't have your team close by enough. And in those situations, what you're looking to do is wait for an opportunity to get a really big engage on them as a team. So let's say they're like walking by here somewhere or something, and kind of looks like the enemy team is grouping up for an engage. Let's say they're defending here, right? There are several things that we can attempt to do. Specifically, the ultimate goal is to get our ultimate. The ultimate goal. The goal is to get our ultimate off on as many targets as we can. Out in the open, it could be a little bit tricky to do. So you can potentially try to force this type of engage with a Q flash E into ults. Or even if you're really low on time and you're desperate, you can even Q flash ult to kind of do extra damage. I would say to use your Q because it's just so easy to get it off from far away while they still don't see you. So just kind of like that, but generally speaking, you want to get that E off too because it does a lot of damage. That's one scenario. Another scenario is maybe something like this, where you see the enemy team kind of like grouping up around a corner or some place where you have a lot of extra vision, and you can kind of surprise them by showing up on their screen a lot faster. You know, if we use our abilities from Fog of War, it gives them even less time to react to everything, and they end up being surprised by it. They end up taking a lot of damage. But ultimately, that is what we're going for. All right, guys, that's what I want to see you doing. Let me try and go show you some kind of late game situations here really quickly before I end this video. Okay, I think I found the clip here. Yes, I did. I found exactly the clip that I wanted to show you guys to give you kind of an example of what I'm talking about here, okay? So check this out. Here is an example of me trying to get some information on the enemy. And this is a very similar example to what I was showing you guys in practice tool. If you look, let me make sure you guys can, okay, you can see the minimap. If you look at the minimap, I have my allies kind of behind me. I am well in front of them, okay? I am around the mid lane, and I'm trying to just see what the enemy team is doing. I'm going close to them. Right now there's minions and stuff, but I am generally trying to stay very close to them. I see something that the enemy team should not really do is they are going into an area of the map that has a lot of walls and corners, and they're doing it like in a very clumped fashion, okay? So here is like exactly the thing I was talking about, where I am walking with the enemy, getting information from my team, and being aggressive in my stance, right? I see them close behind a wall, and this lets me get into range with my camouflage without them seeing me. After that, I flash over the wall, I use QE ults, and I deal massive damage to their entire squad. Almost, you know, I killed Xerath, and I almost killed their jungler here as well. And I set up for just a straight up win. And if you guys look, this game, it's pretty close. This isn't like a game that's like, oh my god, I'm just super fed, I'm running them down. It's pretty close. It's 28, it was to 34. Okay, we had 6 kills on them, and they had more towers than us actually. I was really fed, and here's how that works out. It looks like I am on 5 items though, so I'm very fed. It's pretty late in the game, okay? But this is the kind of stuff that I want you guys to look for. There's a million situations though, and it's hard to really go through and show you guys everything exactly. I still make a lot of late game mistakes, and you will learn through practice. So definitely you guys need to go out and kind of like just give different situations a try. It's just that you have to use those tools that I mentioned at the beginning of the video to really get better at this. I want you guys to be more aware of farm versus vision. I want you guys to be gathering information, looking for people that are alone, or just, you know, setting up for team fights by showing your team where the enemy is. I want you guys to be very aware of the enemy CC and the enemy items, their HP, magic resistance, and potential passives that can save their life. And I want you guys to kind of give yourselves like a little mission when you go into the late game. After you gathered all the information, just ask yourself, can I kill the Ezreal? Okay? And in this situation, it's, yeah, I have a lot of items. I can kill the Ezreal. So now, keeping that in mind, you're walking around, you're stealthing, you're looking for them, and you're trying to kill them if they show up. If one of the guys shows up that is not on your kill list, you can't do it. I want you guys to have the restraint to not go in on them. And it sounds super easy, right? When I put it like that, it's like, oh my gosh, Sunset, of course I can do this. It's super easy. It's harder than it looks. Because prior planning and in the moment thinking can have two very different things that, you know, two very different outcomes. So, guys, I hope that helps. Let me know if in the comments and stuff if you need more clarification in certain areas. I think that this is kind of, I don't know. It's good, but I think there's still more that needs to be said about the late game for sure. But I think this is a decent start. So let me know how I did, and we'll see. Perhaps I will try to do more going into the future and kind of hit on this topic again. But I think that these couple of things are really important, and I hope it improves your games to at least some degree. See you guys perhaps tomorrow, perhaps some other time. Hope you enjoyed the video.